Welcome to News Alert on Capital Television.
Information from the headquarters of the new Patriotic Party indicates that 4 senior members of the party have so far picked forms to contest the flag-bearer race to lead the party come 2016. Nominations was opened by the party on the 6th of June 2014. According to the information from the Elephant Party, those who have stepped into the deep waters to contest the challenging position are Dr. Kofi Konadu Apreku, a former Trade and Industry Minister, Honorable Osei Ameyao, a former Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, a former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and twice defeated flag-bearer of the party, who picked his forms early this morning. The latest to pick the form at about 12 p.m. today is Honorable Stephen Asamoah Boateng. The form cost 10,000 Ghana cedi, while the main contest cost 75,000 Ghana cedi.
The Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority has described as worrying the low level of patriotism among Ghanaians, particularly the youth. He has therefore hinted that the Youth Authority would soon begin what he calls national patriotism lectures across the country to inculcate and resuscitate the dying spirit of nationalism. Ras Mubarak disclosed the upcoming nationalism lectures to Capital TV in an exclusive interview.
More often, we tend to see that nationalism is waning and there's an urgent need to do something about that. And then we also have health, and then ICT. Now, under national orientation, sports and culture, what we are doing at the moment is to institute the National Patriotism Lecture Series, the first of its kind in the history of Ghana, where we are subtly seeking to bring people's minds back to a sense of nationalism. This happened in the 60s and the 70s, but since we went into constitutional rule, everything seemed to have gone under the bridge, and there is an urgent need for Ghanaians to be very patriotic.
He is also not happy about the over-concentration of politics and politicians to the detriment of many other important matters citizens must focus attention on.
There is an over-concentration of attention on politicians, but there's a lot of activities, a lot of actions in the public and private sectors that go a long way to undermining our values as a country.
Ghana joined the rest of the world to observe World Day Against Child Labor today. For many years, global and national institutions have campaigned against the use of children to do work that are harmful to their health and deny them of education or learning a trade. Statistics indicates that there are millions of children in various forms of harmful labor across the globe. Many of these children can be found in sub-Saharan Africa. In Ghana, thousands of young people work on farms, stone quarry sites, fishing and sell on the streets. A technical advisor to the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Edmond Amakwe Foley, spoke to the news team on child labor in Ghana.
There's the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, which was developed by the African Union, from which countries draw inspiration to develop their own national laws. And the African Children's Charter, as we call it, prohibits child labor. In Ghana, we passed the Children's Act as far back as 1998, which also prohibits child labor clearly. Under the Act, it's sort of graduated. Children can engage in light work from age 13. Children up to age 15 can engage in some form of labor. Hazardous labor, which includes you'd say mining, working at sea, working in a quarry, are prohibited for all children. That one, the Children's Act says, children below 18, I mean, for persons below 18 who are considered children by the Constitution and by the Act cannot engage in those. So you see that the only permission perhaps for children to engage in some form of work is perhaps from age 13. Children below that should not be working. But what do we see? Unfortunately, we have some parents who are pushing their young children into hazardous labor and other forms of child labor which affect their growth and their development. Why is it not working, you asked? We also situate it in the general challenge we have with enforcement of our laws. And particularly with children's issues, it becomes difficult because assuming, yes, you got the police to arrest a parent, we then have to contend with the issue of, if we put this parent in prison, who takes care of the children?
Why and how do some young people who must be in classrooms studying or learning a trade end up on the streets to sell?
Maria GSS Nampiska GSS. Sorry, SS. Maybe I go university, but because of that, in this kind of short, in the mission, my premier, then I'm senior high. No. Oh, didn't you have a bar? No, me and madam for being a bar. Now I have surprise decks, any TVs. I was store so buy a buy no, near my name buy. Until I hear my way answer.
Institutions responsible for protecting water bodies in the country have been urged to enforce laws that protect the water bodies from being filled with plastic and polythene. According to the fishermen, the pollution of water bodies with polythene is fast destroying aquatic life in the country. The fishermen who ply their trade in Kole in Accra also hinted that some of their colleagues uses poisonous substances for fishing, which poses dangers to consumers and impact negatively on the water life. The challenges that affect the livelihood of the fishermen came to light when they spoke to Capital TV.
Take away Jim Facho. Can you many but you two amagamba lojo kamba amba two. Woga me tennis and appear my peer me. No ni bam and no if you to mo jo ampa mami samu.
Biane nini bawana ojubaji. Wanyeme Chinese food ke wanyeme game kome ke fanteme biane ameko kandia sun ke mwemini ameno no yani luajo ne nyu ba shpon ne ba yoni mfen biane na kanje amesa fen na no luanye e ba shpon.
The customary practice of observing a month-long ban on drumming and noise-making in the capital city has been lifted by the Wulomoi and chiefs of the Ga traditional area in the Greater Accra region today. Although the ban has caused some tribal and religious misunderstanding, Ga Adangbes have intimated that the cosmopolitan nature of Accra should not rob them of their values and customs. The ban on drumming and noise making is observed from May to June every year to signify the beginning of the Homowo festivities in Nungua, Lante, Janwe, Osu, La, Teshi, Pong, Pram, and Ningo. Heads of clans and traditional priests performed ceremonies to lift the ban today at the Gamashi traditional area.
Lante janwe bashi ni enogbi pawo sakumo bashi shoke so for me so wa gbese kole bashi ogwa bashi ni ogba na ede bashi agbene nakai ogba ni na ede bashi juwe dantu duma ni jufo biamini sakumo eduma na bashi beke aduma ne fanta bega egme esana fe po esa ni mo ko fi oho o so mo nke na fi oho keni bi ye adafi cho amo radio ade ka no ke television fi opo be anyemi awon June niji agbe na nba wo ne enu gbe pa abon ma afamo boni adun le na jibo na afale
na afia loba anwe pa na mene wo so dada no o se to tuma ko benya ko beta na o se ma la fe o fe wo no na ko ga ga ko le gbe mene gbe sisi jeji no fe no ne wa ho no he ti si wo je o je si ga ko me fe mo
That ends News Alert on Capital Television.